I hope that when I'm done talking, and I'm going to take the liberty of reading from my book because I feel like I put enough effort into writing it that I should be able to coast on that for a while. But seriously, I want to sort of begin with the premise that crises of national security, real or manufactured, are actually very productive for states, and particularly nation states, since we're talking about national security, and of course for the class interests that they represent. And as I believe Sridhar was saying earlier, internal security issues are extremely interesting and important to look at, both from a sociological point of view and politically as well, if we want to understand what goes on in nation states and how nation state formation occurs. And so sort of that takes us back to the fact that national security is configured along two prongs. There's the issue of external security, and then there's the issue of internal security, right? And I just wanted to read you something from the English language newspaper Dawn from back when, I believe this was 1952, and Dawn was writing, actually commenting, this was an editorial, on April actually, on the firing, the police firing on peaceful language demonstrators in Dhaka. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but I just wanted to sort of read out to you why internal security is so interesting and important for us to talk about. So according to Dawn, the real threat to the nation lay not from external dangers, which in fact actually helped to strengthen national unity. It was, and I quote, the internal danger which, through whispering, instigation, and insinuation, and mutual belittlement, can break the collective will more than the enemy's big guns and battalions. So that sort of sets up the issue of why a national language crisis or controversy might take on the proportions that it did in Pakistan. So just to sort of set this up, 1947, everyone I think is familiar with the sorts of political and social and cultural crises that that event brought with it. And so there were, of course, for both India and Pakistan, possibly more for Pakistan for various reasons, real issues of crises of the state, ideological, political, economic, etc., which if people are interested, we can explore later. But my story sort of starts with a national education conference that was held in November 1947, in which basically, along with a bunch of other things, sort of touched on the issue of what might be the most appropriate medium for national level education, or if indeed there should be one medium, language medium for study. And the conference itself sort of gave a very qualified recommendation saying that Urdu might be considered a candidate. And the politics of the conference itself are interesting, and again, we can talk about that later if you want. But following this, this very sort of qualified set of recommendations, the Federal Minister for Education started making a lot of public statements about how Urdu suddenly was to be the national language of Pakistan. This, of course, catalyzed a huge reaction in East Bengal because the Bengalis rightly felt that there had been no national level conversation about this, and secondly, given the fact that they were more than 50% of the population, and that Urdu was in fact the mother tongue of a very small number of even West Pakistanis, that if there was an appropriate candidate for the national language of Pakistan, it should in fact be Bengali. The Pakistani state's response to this very legitimate suggestion was frankly mystifying display of state violence and force. So I wanted to sort of, that's what I'm going to talk about how it actually justified that kind of a violent response. And this story is part of a larger chapter in the book in which I sort of tie into a bunch of other things. But so to go back, so November 1947, there are all these national crises, this sense of external threat from India. In this climate of national security, all demands for regional or provincial rights, especially those couched in cultural terms such as the language controversy, were framed by the Muslim League establishment as a direct challenge to the very legitimacy of the Pakistani nation state. It was hardly surprising then that Muslim League politicians and the organic intellectuals of the ruling class attacked Bengali demands for equal political and cultural representation in the new nation state as unpatriotic and even seditious. And this is the theme of sedition that really comes to define this 5-year period and this controversy. As far as the Muslim League's ruling clique was concerned, East Bengal posed a potent political threat. It was demographically Pakistan's majority province with over 50% of Pakistan's total population, which meant that within a truly democratic setup, East Bengal would dominate national politics. East Bengal also